Going to get to the podcast in just a second here, but before I do, I want to talk to you about our new sponsor, Havana Garage. Havana Garage at 10th and Howard in the Old Market. Have you been? Maybe it's been a while since you have been. Go by and check it out again. Havana Garage there with the nice, leather chairs and the atmosphere and the music. It takes you to a different place. It's just a different place. It is Omaha's premier cigar bar with a great whiskey selection, with a great craft cocktail selection. The music, the people, the humidor. Yeah, check it out. They got an outdoor patio, too. The nice outdoor patio. This time of year, it's not too, getting that little brisk fall air in there. Great place to go and sit down and unwind and just, whether you're relaxing after a tough day at work or getting ready for a night on the town. Havana Garage, 10th and Howard. Tell them you heard about it on the Becca's Talking podcast. Welcome to another episode of Becca's Talking. I am excited about this. My guest is Johnny the Jet Rodgers. Now, as Nebraska football is in the process of building that to national prominence, I thought it'd be fun to talk to a guy who was there, and actually one of the reasons we got into national prominence in the first place, which is a Heisman Trophy winner, Johnny the Jet Rodgers. Johnny, thank you for doing this.
Well, thank you, Tom. I used to be the Jet, Tom, but now I'm just a prop plane. See, I remember when I could catch a BB in the dark at midnight with no moon with my sunglasses on. Now I can't find my way home on Saturday night. Times have changed.
Yeah, is that tough? I mean, when you're like the guy, in the Huskers and then the NFL and the Canadian Football League, you are that guy and getting the accolades and all of that. Is it tough as, you go to the games now and you see those players on the field and look back and think, boy, I wish I could still be doing that?
Tom, I have never once in my life looked back and wished I could still do that. No, I think I'm fortunate enough to always be looking forward, Tom. I'm looking at the things that I can do and be effective today, the things that I've qualified myself to do. What did I do? Have a good education in advertising and promotions and what type of things can I do in education right now? Because I wanted to make sure all my kids got their education, got master's degrees and degrees in the trades. And so I think that it's always more to do. You don't look behind you. It's always ahead. You got to keep going.
I want to talk about what you're doing now because you're doing some very cool stuff, and I want to talk about that in a minute or two. But let's talk a little bit about the football days first, okay? So you're a kid being raised by your grandparents, going to Tech High.
Okay.
And you're a big high school football star, right? Colleges are recruiting you. What was it like being recruited back in the day?
Well, actually, in high school, I got recruited to the Dodgers to play baseball out of high school. That's when I got drafted to the Dodgers. That was when I first, my first sport in life was baseball. Josh Gibson, Bob Gibson's brother, was my coach, and I could do anything with a baseball. So I really thought that I was going to be a baseball player first. My goals were just to get wherever I could get $100,000 from, actually. And so I went to the Los Angeles Dodgers, and they only offered me 25. And so I had to go back to talk to Devaney, and Devaney told me if I came to University of Nebraska that I could play baseball and football, and if I could play baseball and football, then I would have a better opportunity of getting that $100,000 because I could play them both against the two. So I did that. Then I got to school in the second year, my third year. Bob told me he wanted me to give up baseball. I said, "What? How you want me to give up baseball? You promised me that if I came here, I could play baseball. You know what I'm trying to do." He said, "Well, John," he said, I do know. He said, "but if you were to give up baseball willingly, you'd be the first person that we've ever endorsed for the Heisman." So I said, "Well, put me in, coach." And it worked out.
So basically, the fact that he would let you play two sports was because you had to be recruited by other schools, right?
Well, I've been recruited by about 50 other schools, but I was trying to get into USC because I figured that USC, if you got into USC, you would go and get into the pros because they had the top program. So I was trying my best. I wasn't really paying attention to all the scholarships that I had. I was trying to go after the ones I wanted, and I wanted to go to SC.
Okay, so Devaney gets you on the promise of baseball and football. Mm-hmm. Plus, Now, again, a lot of this is all in my mind, so I don't know if this is true or not. I envision that also, like the boosters were helping you out along the way too, right? That there were a lot of. I mean, we talk about NIL now, but even back then, you were taken care of, weren't you?
I don't really say taken care of. If it was not against you could, if you got caught taking money, you could do like Reggie Bush. You could lose everything, all your things. So we really, we was working for food. I didn't really have anything going on.
I guess I just thought that the rules were a lot more lax back then.
No, the rules were a heck of a lot more strict back then. That you couldn't. They wanted you working for food. It was ludicrous. Now they actually are fair with the NIL, that they're able to get paid for opportunity. I've always believed in paid for play. I remember Ernie Chambers and I forever and ever have always tried to get athletes paid for what they were doing, but it took up to now to really come to that point.
How much do you think you'd get today if you were in your prime, Johnny the Jet, not the prop plane but the Jet? If you were in your prime right now, how much do you think you'd be getting with NIL?
I really don't have any idea how much I would be getting. I would think I would be getting top dollar because I was actually from high school doing a lot of different things, and I think what my whole claim to fame is that I was able to be play several positions. I played wingback, I played wide receiver, I played halfback. I ran punts, I ran kickoffs, anything. I threw touchdowns. I could do a lot of different things. So I could probably have commanded quite a bit in the NIL days. Yeah,
more than your $100,000.
Well, quite way more than $100,000. But I was really the first person actually to get that $100,000 to go into the NFL or the CFL, any place. Nobody had ever gotten $100,000 in a contract before.
So now you're playing football for Nebraska, and Devaney says you'll be the first guy that we really push for the Heisman. Okay, so the team is really starting to get national prominence. What was that like? Was there a lot of pressure put on you? Was it all just fun as the team was really, becoming national champs, or was it, really the pressure of having to succeed and having to win all the time?
Well, it really was no pressure for having to. We wanted to. So we wanted to do what we needed to do to help support Bob Devaney. I tell people all the time that I'd rather slide bare ass on a razor blade than to disappoint Coach Devaney, because Coach Devaney was a player's coach, and he took care of us. He did a lot of different things for us and took care of our parents and always really was concerned about it going on. So we were playing to win. And we realized that if we did win, and that we all, because we had very good players, we had a vision of really being the best team. In 1969, we became Big 8 champs for the first time in a long time. They hadn't had anything. And at that particular time in 69, I was a freshman, and freshmen couldn't play. But Willie Harper was there. Rich Glover was there. I think Spider was there. We had Darrell White was there. We had so many different good players that had been recruited to come there that when that 69 team won the Big 8 championship, why couldn't we take it further? It was just clear that we were going to have a better team coming into the next year. And then we kept adding on every year after that. We put Donnie Westbrook, different people. We kept recruiting it, so we got better and better and better. And so we weren't really tripping. We were actually building a program and building a team, and we believed we could win, and we wanted to win for Osborne, for Devaney, for ourselves, and we couldn't see no reason why we couldn't.
So mental attitude had a lot to do with it, right? I mean, you just said something there. We didn't see any reason why we couldn't. I've always been a big believer in the phrase, whether you think you can or you can't,
Whatever
you're right.
you believe, you're probably going to be right. And we believed that we could. We believed that we could and we could not. We were going to do whatever is necessary to win. Winning wasn't everything. But at Nebraska at that time, we rated right up there with oxygen. It was pretty darn important, and we believed we could do that, and we knew that was our ticket to the pros. Everybody was going to make it and go better and go further if we stuck together and did the things that we were supposed to do. And we believed that we could do that, and we did.
I talked to you off before we started the podcast about I moved here about the time that you came to national prominence as I came here. I remember those days when you could not, when Saturday hit and Lyle Bremser was on the radio and you couldn't go anywhere. I mean, if you went to a store, it'd be empty, and they'd be playing the game over the loudspeaker. What Nebraska football meant to the state back then has diminished somewhat over the years, but and maybe it's getting back to that point now again as with Coach Rule. But you talk about Devaney and how you would do anything for him. Tell me a little bit about the man, because I've met Tom Osborne and that. Never met Bob Devaney. Never really was here during his, the prime of his career. What was he like as a person, as a coach, as a man?
Well, he was what I would call a player's coach. He could relate to the players. I mean, he really wasn't about the X's and O's, but he had a personality, and he wanted to get your trust. And we trusted Coach Devaney to do the right things by us. And if we needed help for anything, then we could go to Coach Devaney. He was on our side, and we was on his side. He was really a good guy. He was a lot like us. He was young at heart, even though he was quite a bit older. He was still young at heart, and he liked to party and go out and do things, and we did too. And he was into winning. I mean, winning. We were not ever not going to give our best for our team and for Coach Devaney. But we believed in the team too. Everybody. Who wanted to be the one that on Monday morning we came back in, that they had the point that you were the one that caused us to lose. You didn't want to be that person.
Yeah.
You ever didn't want to be, and very seldom we didn't. I think I lost 2 games. We lost 2 games in my whole career at Nebraska, and that was a shock when that happened, because we just believed that we could win.
What about the game of the century? That was you in Oklahoma. Everybody focusing on it. It was. It really was the game of the century.
It still has been the game of the century. Yeah. Well, we were. I think they were number one. Mm-hmm. I think we were number 2. I said they had the number 1 offense. We had the number 1 defense in the country, and it was really an even match. We knew that whoever won that game was going to win the national championship. And I was fortunate enough to have a big play right at the beginning of the game on a punt return. And we didn't believe in fair catch. Everybody knew. And I think that's the difference here now, too, of what's really happening now. Lots of times now our guys fair catch, or they don't. The guys are not ready to block. Our team knew every single time that we went back for a punt or a kickoff, we were going. Every single day. It was no surprise to nobody. It wasn't, well, I thought you might have fair caught. We're not ever fair catching. You don't score touchdowns when you fair catch.
Yeah.
So everybody knew that they had to do it, and everybody wanted to be that one to get the block. And they were telling you, Rich said, I got everybody get your man. I'd go back to the huddle, and I remember I used to call punt returns right, and I'd go left. And then I'd call one left, and I'd go right. So it got to the point I just would get in the huddle, and I'd say, everybody get a block. Ready? Break.
And then you would just go wherever.
Everybody get a block. And I'd go up the middle. It was like to take up the middle and just find the place. Because you can't call. We had times when we were calling right returns, and they would see the walls line up right, and so everybody would go right. So it didn't make sense to keep doing that. If we didn't know, they didn't know. So everybody would just get a block, and everybody really would commit to get a block. Now, I have a punt return against Oklahoma State that when I'm on speaking engagements that I play. And we actually had audience participation where we actually count the blocks for every one. And hold the crowd, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I got that one. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When everybody got a block. Yeah. Everybody got a block, and everybody meant to get a block, and everybody darn near got a block. And on the game of the century, Joe Blaha got the big block, because I'm not sure if the guy would have got me or not, but he took it off the table when he knocked him off my back, going in for the touchdown.
And while guys like you and the quarterbacks get all the publicity in that, it really is the both offensive and defensive linemen that really deserve a hell of a lot of credit for the success of a team.
It's always what's up front that counts. Mm-hmm. It's always, if you got to feature your linemen. If my lineman didn't block, or if my blockers on the return team didn't block, then I would be going nowhere. And you have to have big plays. We talk about the punt return, but the punt return was not the biggest play of the game. Everybody always act like the punt return was the biggest game. The biggest play in the game was a 3rd down and 10 play that Jerry Taggart was scrambling in the fourth quarter. We're down to like a couple minutes in the game, and if we don't get that first down, then we're going to have to give the ball back. If we give the ball back, they're probably going to go down and score. But he was able to scramble around, and he threw a little shoestring about 10 yards where it was almost on the ground. He was in trouble. I was able to catch it and pull it in and keep us going so we didn't have to turn the ball back over, and that was the biggest play of the game.
But not as exciting as a long punt return.
We won.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting. That's pretty exciting. I mean, when you understand how the game goes, that's big deal.
That's what you're there for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're not supposed to even catch it. He's not supposed to get it away, and I'm not supposed to catch it, and we're not supposed to win, and we do. That's bigger than a punt return.
Yeah. I want to touch just briefly on some of the problems you had, though, as a player at Nebraska. You got into a little bit of trouble with the law, and I'm only bringing this up because of how you've turned it around and what you're doing in the future. I'm not trying to bring up bad memories in that, but you did. You got into some trouble with the law back then. You want to talk about that?
Well, sure. I get in trouble. That's why I go help people now in trouble, because everybody gets in trouble, Tom. I don't know why people talk about me. Everybody makes mistakes all the time. That's just the human nature. You make mistakes, and when you're a kid coming up, you're anticipated. You're not, you're not on top of your game when you're 16, 17 years old. Nobody is. And if you don't have a father, I didn't meet my father until I was 17 years old, so I really had no direction. I was raised by my grandparents, whether my great-grandparents or my grandparents. It's always grandparents into the game. But I think I was raised pretty good. I think I have good values and good morals that are set off pretty good. And I'm sure I've made some mistakes all along the way, and I think a lot of people have. But I learned from those mistakes, and I never repeated the mistakes that I actually made. And I think that really makes the difference, is that you learn from your mistakes. And so mistakes are better than not. If people don't make mistakes, they don't know what to do. Opposite from what you just did is the thing you should be doing. So you learn a lot from your mistakes. So I was able to learn and pick up and to move forward, and I learned that tenacity because I was behind the 8 ball. I had to work harder all the time to make sure that I got to a point that, because I was going to be up for the Heisman Trophy or something, and I had got a robbery. I had a felony. Mm-hmm. I was the first guy in history, and the only guy who probably had a felony before I won the Heisman Trophy.
You probably couldn't win the Heisman Trophy today in today's media environment. You probably couldn't have won the trophy today with a felony conviction.
That's what they said then.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
That's what they said then, too. Uh-huh. You just don't have it. But it depends on how good you are, and it's not how good I am, it's how good the team was. We were on national television as much as you can get. I mean, and we had a good team. We had a good team. I mean, I could count on the players that are on our team. And I tell people all the time, anything you can do by yourself just ain't big enough. Teamwork makes your dreams work. You don't win national championships by yourself or Heisman trophies by yourself, or go to the pros by yourself. It's always in conjunction with others that you make your greatest accomplishments. Teamwork makes your dreams work, whether you're on the field or in business or at home. You got to be able to work with other people, and I think that was one of the greatest experiences that I had of understanding how to work with other people throughout life. And I learned the importance of that early in life, and having to come from behind to take a step back and get a running start, that I learned how to deal with adversity at a young age. So things aren't really given to you, and you do run into that's not the only mistake I made in my life. Yeah. I got plenty of mistakes going on, but you work back from them and you learn from them. So you're not really it doesn't hit you like a block of bricks or something, because you just understand that and you learn from your mistakes. And I couldn't have made a worse mistake. So after that, everything was gravy.
kind of a sidebar. You talk about everybody makes mistakes. Years ago, I was talking to a gentleman who was a felon, who was getting back into society, mm-hmm. and he was trying to get a job, and he couldn't get hired. And he went to another place, and he told the guy, he said, "Look, I'm a felon," and the employer said, "I am too. I just never got caught." Mm-hmm. And the guy gave him the job, right. And gave him a chance, and I think that's one thing that you had, that maybe not everybody gets a chance, a second chance to learn from their mistake.
Well, I never had a job either. I was an entrepreneur. 90% of my life I've been an entrepreneur. I didn't think about getting a job because I was a fellow, and so I created jobs. It's like I had to. In San Diego, I had Tuned In magazine. I noticed that San Diego had the largest saturation of cable in the United States, but they didn't have a TV guide to tell people what was on cable TV. In Montreal, they had a magazine called TV Hebdo, and it was about all the entertainment was about in Montreal in the city. So I took that idea from the entertainment and the cable, put it together, and ended up with the largest magazine in the history of San Diego called Tuned In San Diego. And that was my entrepreneur deal. And then in Nebraska, I came here and I had juvenile betting products. Where I took the logos from USC, from Nebraska, from all the different famous colleges around the country, and I could put them on sheets and comforters and shams and everything for kids' bedrooms, and ended up getting Entrepreneur of the Year for that.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
You have to be creative,
When you're a guy like Johnny Rodgers, you really can't go and...
How is Johnny Rodgers?
Yeah, I
mean, what do you mean like Johnny Rodgers?
Yeah,
like what?
No, but what I mean is, you really can't go and work for somebody else. I mean, you're that type of a guy.
I work for Patrick Gotch. I work for RFD TV. He and I were friends, and Patrick was a world-class guy, and he did rural radio and TV all over the country, which was a good concept, and he was a pioneer in what he did. But we were able to work together. I've had different people that I can work with. If they understand that we work together, just like we do a team. I don't work for you, I work with you, just like I did with Bob Devaney. I didn't work for Bob. We worked together, and we worked with the team, and we had common interests, and we had goals that if we won, we all would win.
What was the dynamic between Devaney and Osborne? Because I see them as being two totally different personalities.
Well,
what was the dynamic between the two?
Well, they were two total different personalities. And like I said, Tom learned how to really approach and deal with players from Coach Devaney, because Tom was just a young man himself when he came into the game. And Bob taught him all that he knew. And then when Bob left him with 2 national championships, and then he was able to be the head coach, because Tom was a smart guy. Tom, while everybody was out partying all the time, Tom was in studying, and he was working to offenses and defensive schemes. And I think that I really didn't realize that back in those days when we audibled, other people didn't audible. We were the first team in college football to have audibles, and that was because of Tom Osborne.
Okay. We talked about some of the problems you had and how you got over them. What are you doing now? Because you're working with Metro, which I think is fascinating.
Well, Metro is one of the best schools here that I've ever seen. They have 100 different careers, and education is affordable. You can get an affordable education from Metro Community College, whether you get a scholarship or not. And we have scholarships for darn near everything that's really going on. And our scholarship that we have one of the best scholarship programs we're actually going there for whether you want to be in culinary arts, you want to be in agriculture, you can be a dentist, you can be a carpenter, you can be a plumber, you can be an electrician, you can be anything you want to be as long as you want to be. And we're not trying to push education on people, but people that want an education, they're able to get an education. And just this past September, we were able to give away about $500,000 worth of scholarship opportunities for 50 different people at $10,000 apiece to go to university of, not the university, but for Metro Community College.
That's pretty cool, because you're right. Because and these are basically the trades. These are not.
These are all trades, because I came from Tech High. Tech High was Metro Community College. Everybody that I knew in my life when I came up were in the trades pretty much, and they went to Tech High too, because I didn't know anybody from any place else hardly, except for the school that you actually went to. So everybody that I ever knew pretty much were in a trade, and after life they did well in that trade, whether they turned out to be a plumber, electrician, or wherever, could have been an accountant, whatever they were doing, but they had some type of a trade that they had learned from Tech High. And Metro Community College took over that when they closed Tech High down to favor Central, where everybody was going to get a traditional type education, when everybody's not built for a traditional type education. And they don't make plumbers make a lot more than people with traditional educations.
With a lot less student debt to pay off.
A lot less.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's the thing about Metro, too. You don't have a student loan debt.
Yeah.
It's incredible. The opportunities at Metro Community College and the people at Metro Community College are really caring type people. They will help you get to where you go. You always have somebody to help you through what you're doing. You just have to register and get started.
What do you know about? I mean, when you talk to these kids about getting into the trades and all that, we talk to them. You know, a lot of times as old guys are, these kids today, they're no good, they're lazy, you become that old guy on the front porch, yelling at the sky. But there are a lot of good, hardworking kids that just need a chance, don't there?
I don't talk anybody into doing anything. I have opportunities for you if you want them. We can give them to you. If you don't want them, we're not trying to talk you into anything because we can't really afford to waste the money on people who don't really want to do something. So anybody that comes really has to understand that this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity that your parents probably didn't get. They were back in the day. They were. It was against the law for you to get education.
Yeah.
Now you have an opportunity to get education if you want it. If you're not at that point yet, we'll just wait till you get to that point because we have plenty of people, and not just kids. We have high school kids that we're trying to. I start talking to kids at 6th and 7th grade to start thinking about what they're going to do. But we have people 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 years old, non-traditional students that come back for a second chance that we're giving scholarships to.
Okay, so we talked about the old days of Nebraska football. Let's talk about today as we move forward now.
Oh, my God.
As we move forward now. I mean, it had to be kind of tough for you during those really lean years when the team, the last 20 years has not been kind to the Huskers, but yet you're still sort of like the face of the team. It had to be kind of tough a little bit watching the program fall into disarray like it had. How do you feel about it now with Coach Rule?
Well, we have hope. We have a good team. We can play with anybody, but we have to do it. And like we're talking here earlier about the mentality, and I think it's more mental type toughness than physical type toughness that really needs to be put into the game at different times. But he's got our guys to a point now that we have hope that we can, but we have to do it. You have to do it, and they have to be mentally tough, and the coaches do too at the same particular time because, like I said, winning isn't everything, but we do rate it right there at auction. Yeah. It's all about winning. We got to win at all costs, and it deters me that we haven't been able to put it together to win. We don't have to win national championships all the time. We didn't win all the time. We won 2 out of 3 that we went to, but we want to go to bowl games. We want to be successful. We want to have people to come here and they can go to the pros. They know that they're going to get drafted. We want our fans to be proud of the people that they come see because they support us whether we're winning or losing. They're supporting us. So we really just want to be having winning season, playing winning football, and be consistent at what we do.
And Coach Rule, as an outsider looking in, and correct me if I'm wrong, Coach Rule and the program now seem to be welcoming the former players such as yourself, whereas maybe some of the past administrations did not want to even acknowledge you guys.
No, they didn't want to acknowledge us. We never talked to the team. We never went down. Scott never really was into it. I don't think hardly any of the coaches were really taking advantage of the players. We have Red Baron has a list of every single player that ever played at the University of Nebraska. We have total access to players all around the country. We can help in recruiting more than you could think. We can help in raising funds. There's all different types of things that former players can really help into doing that this administration were a lot more into than prior administrations before.
Oh, that's good. That's how to make you feel good.
Or shouldn't make them feel good.
Yeah.
Because we have assets, and we care. We really care about the program. We can't get another university. We can't get another pass. We don't. Our history is his story. So our story's been told already. We want to have that story to come back and to live greatness again because those are some good old days. It really was. I've been on top and winning, and I've been losing. And I think I like winning a lot better.
I would tend to agree with you on
that.
that.
Winning a lot better.
But the thing about it is that, and maybe you learned this through your football career, is that when you do lose, you got to get back up and do it again. You can't let that loss define you.
Well, you can't, but you can't lose. You just can't lose.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to make up your mind you're not going to lose. You got to make up your mind that as a team, we're going to do whatever is necessary to win because we can. We can, but you have to believe that you can. I mean, we could have lost and made comebacks and whatever. We lost, like I said, in my senior year, we lost a couple games. We still went to the Orange Bowl and dogged out Notre Dame because we wanted to send Devaney out with a bang. But we didn't know loss. We didn't know lose. Because we were willing to do whatever was necessary to win because we could. We weren't human beings. We were humans becoming. And we became better and better and better as we went along till we got to the point that we thought we were just unbeatable.
And considering what you went through in both your college and NFL days, your health is good. You seem to be doing okay.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a lot of football players don't come out of it in as good a shape at your age.
Yeah, they really don't. I've been very fortunate. I have had 2 knee operations. I got 2 new knees, and my doctor was a great doctor. So, and like I said, me and my daughter, we play pickleball. We're the city champs about 4 or 5 times now that we've won. Just broke my foot playing pickleball, but I'm back over it. And as soon as it gets well, I'll be right back out on the court.
Because winning is all, everything.
It's the only thing. It's about winning.
Johnny, it's always enjoyed spending time with you.
And education. You got to have education. Education is not part of your life. Education is life itself.
Yeah.
We got to get our kids more educated and our adults, our non-traditional students, because it's not just the kids, it's their parents. Kids don't do what you say, they do what they see you doing. And they have to see the parents taking steps to get better education for them to be able to do it.
And it's not just education while you're in school, because even after you're out of school, I'm still learning stuff every day.
You never stop learning.
Yeah, and you have to embrace the education and that.
Well, you got to want to learn, and you can't worry about people like you do who want to tell people about all the mistakes. I mean, that's the only way you win. That's the only way you learn is from your mistakes. You can't be afraid to make mistakes. You got to take chances. Do you know how many times I went up for a pass with one hand? And they say, well, he went up with one hand, but that's all I could get up. They might have my other one, but I caught it. And I never dropped the pass, never fumbled, never.
Yeah.
Because me and Tom Osborne were out there every single day, and he was throwing me passes, what we call turnarounds and horseshoes, every single day. We're running stairs every single day. We wanted to be in world-class condition every single day. We didn't miss days.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't say, well, I don't feel like it today, Coach. It ain't going to happen every single day.
And yet you see some of the players today, and they seem to have that attitude.
Well, that's because of NCAA too. I remember back we used to call NCAA no cash at all because you couldn't get no money at all. But they won't let you we had 2-a-days. We practiced twice a day sometimes. I remember it would be so hot out that it would be hot that the cattle were dying from the heat, and we'd still be out there practicing. They won't let you do that anymore. And that very same season, it would be so cold that cattle were freezing standing up, and we'd still be out there practicing. Now they won't let you do that kind of conditioning. But if they didn't, Tom, we would do it on our own. We'd do it on our own. Because you got to be in world-class condition. It's not enough to be the best on your team or the best in the city, the best in the state. You got to be the best in the world these days. At whatever it is that you're doing, you got to be thinking world-class. Our children need to be thinking world-class students because there's other people that are ahead of them. There are other parents that got the kids started before ours did. You got to always coming from behind. You're always the underdog. You got to be thinking about being world class at whatever it is that you do to be the best.
Do you think you're born with that attitude, or is it ingrained in you with people like Coach Devaney and that?
How was I born with that attitude? My family didn't have. Yeah. We didn't have nothing. My grandparents who raised me couldn't read or write.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, there's still something inside of you that says, "I want to be successful. I want to take it to the next level." There was something in you that was a drive there.
I think that's human beings. Like I said, we're not human beings. We're humans becoming, and we have the ability to get better and better and better. That's our God-given ability that we can get better. You just got to want to. Some people don't want to.
Yeah.
You are what you think about most of the time. What are you thinking? Whatever you're thinking happens. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, whatever you think, you're probably going to be right. What are you thinking, Tom?
What a great way to end the conversation. Johnny, thank you very much, sir. It was great talking with you as always, and continued success and continued success on the pickleball court.
All right, well, thank you, Tom.
And we will see you soon.
All right, thank you.
Have a great day. Spread the word. Go and check out all the great podcasts. Every week we have a new podcast. Comes out 10 o'clock every Tuesday, and it's always about somebody different. Just an interesting person with a story to tell. And just go down the list there, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on iHeart, Spotify, whatever, wherever you find your podcast, go and check out Becca's Talking. Till next time, take care and bye, y'all.
Every day's game day. Not every other day, Tom.
And there you have another podcast here at Becca's Talking. I hope that you will continue to join us. Tell your friends about us and spread the word that we are here every Tuesday at 10 a.m. A new podcast comes up. And it's brought to you by Havana Garage at 10th and Howard in the Old Market. Havana Garage with a great selection of craft cocktails, a great selection of whiskey, a great selection of cigars. Whether you smoke a cigar or not, you're going to enjoy your time at Havana Garage. Just because the atmosphere, the old market feeling, it really is. It's a unique place. You don't feel like you're in Omaha when you're sitting there. You know what I mean? Check it out. Tell them Becca sent you. Tell them you heard about it on the Becca's Talking podcast. Havana Garage at 10th and Howard. You're going to love it.